Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bellaocity Travel. My name is Trish, and thank you for joining in with me today. So, today we have another topic of discussion. And I know any women that travel, dating can be very difficult at times. I need to make sure that Okay. So I just wanted to check my volume and everything. So dating can be very difficult at times, and we always want to make sure that people are on the same page that we are, right? So this topic of discussion has come up a few times because I did a video on dating abroad, basically as a Black woman. Okay. And so this someone was saying, "Oh, well, you're dating abroad, you know, men are only wanting you for a green card, right?" And this was, someone I think that I don't know. It was a comment that someone said. So, they were like, "Oh, they don't want you for you. They just want you for a green card. You can't really um, compare, dating abroad versus dating in the US." So I just want to clear the air, you know, and I want to talk about, does he really want you or does he want a green card, right? Is he in it to win it, or is he in it to score big? With the green, and then we're not talking about money, we're talking about a green card or a visa to the promised land, right? The land of the home and or the home and the brave. I think that's how it goes. Land of the home, free of the brave, something. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, so that's today's topic. Does he want you or does he want that green card? And I have my phone here because I have some like little notes here. So yeah, so let's just get started. Okay. Um Dating in any country can be difficult, right? People always say women have the advantage, but that's not necessarily true. I think sometimes there may be more of a surplus of women than there are men. But women have to watch out for a lot of different things, whether you're in the US or you're living in Europe or anything else, because I know for a lot of men that travel abroad, when women hear, let's say, South America or Asia or somewhere, when women hear, "Oh, he's an American," they think of green, right? But it's not, a lot of times it's not really a green card that they're thinking about. It's that dinero, right? It's that money because, you know, in most countries, Americans make the most money, right? We're on the top percentile of income. But women, we have to look out for other things, right? It's not always money. It's, oh, I want to get a green card. I want to move to Europe or I want to move to the US or I want to move to Australia, wherever, one of the Western countries that is more economically, structured and things like that. So, first, I just want to talk about some of my experiences. I've never, to be honest, I've never had anyone to actually come out and say that they wanted to go to the US. I met someone online one time, this was a few months ago, and it never went. I mean, the conversation was kind of dry anyway, but he just kind of mentioned, "Oh, you know, we could get married. And, if we were to date and get married, I would love to go to the US." Okay, but I stopped him in his tracks because for me, when I meet someone, the first thing I tell them, I am an expat. I am a digital nomad. I do not live in the US and I don't plan on moving back there. Okay. So when you clarify that, if it was even like a thought in their mind, then they're going to be like, "Oh, well, can't get a green card from her because she's not moving back. She doesn't live there. I don't live in the US. I live everywhere. I am free as a bird." So that's the first thing I tell people when they say, "Oh, well, where do you live?" "Oh, I live everywhere. I might live here. I might live in Spain this month. I might be in Italy next month. I might be in, Thailand 1 month or 1 year. I mean, it's just different. So I just clarify the air. I just go ahead and let them know if that's what you're thinking, then you might as well halt the conversation and keep on moving. Like put dust, start walking or start running and put that smoke behind your boots or shoes and just keep going, right? So, but yeah, I never really had that too much. I think that was like the one time, but nobody really has asked me directly about that. I mean, people talk about going to the US, but believe it or not, I think it's different depending on what countries you are visiting and what countries you're dating in. And we'll get more into that. But for the most part, most men, especially in the European side, they're not wanting to get a green card and go to the US. I mean, for the most part, from my experience, I haven't had, you know, anyone to say that except for that one guy. Because most people actually, I mean, for the majority, like the ones that I meet, they don't want to go to they want to visit, but they don't want to live there. People here are very close to their families and they have businesses and jobs and stuff like that. They actually love being in, Europe, and I don't blame them for that because the U.S. we all know, every country has its problems, and we have some economic issues going on there. We have a lot of political things, and we're not the safest country in the world either. We're never a level 4 threat or level 3 threat with all the shootings, but then a few things happen in other countries and they're on the radar. Don't travel there or travel with precaution. But the US, no, they never do that. But yeah, so for the most part, I get a lot of questions. Is the US safe? But things like that. But most people, most of the men that I meet, they don't want to go live there unless now they're professionals and they're doctors or software engineers or something, and they want to work for a global company. And as y'all know, the ones that do know me, I do teach English online. So, even like a lot of the people that I know from online that are foreigners, especially from this part of the world, they want to further their career. They want advancements in their career and they have, goals and things like that. So they don't want to actually move to the US. They just want to work for a global company. They want to, increase their English knowledge and become better English speakers to work for a global company to make more money, to get a better income, to take care of themselves and their families and things like that. So that's just been my experience. I'm just basing, um, excuse me, I'm just basing all of these things on, from my point of view, what I've been through. It's going to be different for everyone, but I just stop them in their tracks. Like, look, I've been in the game a long time, so I just kind of, yeah, no, I don't live in the U.S. I'm not going to live in the U.S. I don't have a house there. I don't have anything there. So, and I don't have any money. I tell them that real quick. Like, I don't. Then, because most people think, oh, you're American, they think all Americans are rich or they have money, and that's not the case, right? All right. So, the first question is how can you tell if a man is generally interested in me or just looking for a green card, right? Well, the first thing is just pay attention to his interest in your personal life, your values and goals, and things like that, rather than being interested in, well, when are you moving back to the US or things like that. If he's interested in what you like to do, he's interested in learning more about your family, what you like, what you dislike, things like that. If he wants to take you out, if he wants you to meet his family, things like that. But if he starts discussing, I mean, some will probably come out and ask you, about a visa or green card. But if he starts discussing like marriage quickly or wanting to get into a relationship, things like that, you already know like what he's all about, right? So you just have to be aware. I'm a believer that if you listen to what people say and you pay attention to what they say, even without you saying anything, usually people tell on themselves. I pay attention to what most people don't pay attention to, just the little things. If you keep saying, oh, yeah, I would love to go to the US, but, I can't go, I would need a visa, blah, 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 then no, we're not even conversation closed. And sometimes you might just get blocked and deleted, so those are the things. But also, you just want someone that's just going to ask you, what are your hobbies? What are the things that you like to do? For me, where have you traveled? What are your favorite foods? Things like that, So I just look out for people who actually are social, right? That have social skills, that are not just trying to text all the time. Someone that's going to take the time to talk to you and try to get to know you better. And, they're genuinely interested in you, right? Not what you have, what you do, things like that. All right. So the next thing is we just talked about that. What are some what are some red flags to watch out for? Just, quick commitment, um, things like that. Just wanting to be your man really fast, or telling you that they love you and, you really haven't spent a lot of time together, or you are just having like that one hitter quitter type moment where you just kind of see each other every now and then, and you meet up and things like that, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, I would like to go to the US, or like I said, they might just ask, can you help me get a green card? And the thing that people don't understand about getting a green card or getting a visa or whatever they want to call it for the US, it's not that easy. It's not easy at all. I was married before, but my ex-husband's sister-in-law was an immigration lawyer, right? And I just generally asked her, like, how easy is it for, how easy or difficult it is for people to get a green card in the US. And I was shocked. Like, she was just telling me in general, she was like, years ago, people would just, try to marry people, or, things like that, to try to get citizenship or to get a green card. And it was easier, if they could prove that they lived together, if they could prove that, they really loved each other, quote unquote, things like that. But nowadays, she said it's just more difficult. She says, of course, that person has to, you have to be together, you have to be married, you have all these interview questions and things like that, you know. And actually, that kind of can put a person on a radar to be deported too if they are illegally in a country, right? Because if they are not in the system and then they decide to get married and then they decide to try to become a legal citizen of the US, then that puts a flag up for them saying, oh, well, you've been in the country for 20 years and now you're trying to get immigration status. Well, they actually could, because you're here illegally, they actually could just ship you back to deport you to your native country, right? The only way that they wouldn't would be if your partner or your wife or husband or whoever's trying to get the papers, if they're sick and you are the sole provider. It doesn't even matter if you have kids that were born in the US, they will still deport you. Okay, so it's not as easy as marrying somebody and trying to get a green card. It is not like that anymore. It's more difficult. All right, so just wanted to throw that out there. Um, Next question: are there cultural differences in dating that might impact how a relationship progresses? Okay. The pace of a relationship and expectations around dating and marriage kind of different, right? Um, I think that it sometimes it just depends where a person is from. And how they grew up. If they are more family oriented, they tend to be a lot more serious, and try to find more about you. A lot of times, status has a lot to do with it. What kind of job they have, education, things like that. Sometimes it just don't matter. It doesn't matter where they grew up, but people that are more educated and tend to be like located in bigger cities, they usually relationships are a lot better with them, whether it's a relationship or whether it's just hanging out and things like that. They just are more well-rounded, and things like that. Um, okay. So, um, I will say that things differ depending on whether you're dating men from Europe or Asia or or Latin America. Okay. I do believe that it has a lot to do with economical status, right? Economical status, because in Latin America, of course, the cost of living, um, is different, right? Not just the cost of living, but just salaries. Income is very low in those countries, right? So Latin American men, they're going to see the U.S. as their golden ticket, and I think personally I feel like if you are a woman and you're traveling in Latin American countries, and also maybe in Asian countries, I don't really talk about dating Asian men as much because you know, I haven't done that for my own personal reasons, you know, but yeah, for Latin men, I think that they're going to ask you more for a green card because, for one, the proximity to the US, and also because, like I say, there a lot of them, majority of the men, or the people in general, they just don't have a lot of income, right? A lot of them are in poverty, conditions, things like that. So yeah, they're going to ask you, and they may not ask you right out, but they're going to hint around to it. And also, the U.S. is closer for Latin American or Caribbean countries. It's easy for them to hop on a plane and go to the U.S. because another thing is they're not too far from their families. It's what, a few hours flight to get back to their families and things like that. So I really truly believe just because of those reasons that men from Latin America are going to want a green card more than a man from Europe. Um, and like I say, Asia, I mean, I really don't know too much about that. Um, let's see. Um, okay, so why might European men be less inclined to move to the US compared to Latin men? European men often enjoy the similar standards of living as the U.S. And Europe is beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, the architectural buildings, the cobblestone streets, the food, the atmosphere, the beaches. So, I mean, European men, they don't want to go to they don't want to go to the US, right? The food is good here, it's healthy, the wine is good, and the cost of living, of course, for some people can be a little more expensive, but just basic things, and the happiness index is up here, right? And safety, right? So if you have all of those things, then there's no need to even go to the US. Yes, the US is, a good place to make money and stuff, but um, in Europe, if you have a good career and things like that, and we can't base things on education all the time because I mean, even if you don't have a 4-year degree or you don't have an associate's degree, nowadays, if you have a certificate, we know this from from the US because we like to have certificate programs. I mean, you can go and get a certificate from Google and work as a information work in information technology or cybersecurity, and cybersecurity in probably a year you can make over $100,000, right? So yeah, European men are not quick to want to go to the US, yeah, to visit, but their lifestyle for the most part is very similar. They can get the things that they need. And like I say, the culture in Europe is really it's really similar to the US. I mean, there are a lot of differences, but there are a lot of similarities as well. So you're not going to really find, like I say, unless those other things kind of kick in, just depending on what parts of Europe, right? But for the most part, European men, they want to stay close to their families. They're really close to their families. They love their food. They love their wine. They love, their European status. So they're not going to like ask too much about a green card, right? But I'm going to tell you this. The men don't have to worry about asking me for a green card or anything like that because, the thing with me is, if for some reason I was to meet someone, I would like a European visa. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I would love to be able to live in Europe, not to have to worry about my little 90 days and the Schengen zones. I would love to be able to just hop across, the countries like they do. I'm envious of them because the thing in the US is that it's very expensive to travel, okay? Everything is so far away. You have to fly if you don't like to drive, right? And then the cost of gas is out of this world. The cost of flying is just ridiculous. Like just to fly from, I don't know, from the southern part of the US to the northern part of the US, a round trip ticket might cost you $1,000, right? Europe, you can go from one country to another country by train, probably 50, less than $100. And then you can also fly from one country to another country. I mean, I saw tickets one time, like to fly from like Albania to Italy. It was like, I don't know, $45 or 35 euros, right? Which is close to dollar. We just say $35. And the flight was like an hour and a half, right? That was round trip ticket. I've seen tickets for $25 to go from one country to another country. So it is really cheap when you live in Europe and you have the capability to travel like that. Because in the US, you don't. You have to have a lot of money. And most Americans are working paycheck to paycheck and they have that one family vacation or that 1 or 2 times that they travel. Most of them don't really travel out of the US for the most part. I mean, but most Americans don't really even have a passport, right? So they really don't know what the other side of the world looks like, or they just know what they see on YouTube or TikTok or social media, right? So yeah, so that's the difference. European people, they're very comfortable with their lifestyle, so they're not looking to get a, a green card or a visa for a long-term stay from women that they're dating. And for me personally, like I said, now if I meet someone and we kick it off or whatever, I'm going to be excited to be able to get a visa, a long-term visa, even possibly a permanent residency card for anywhere in Europe where I could be in the Schengen zone. So I'm not even going to lie on passport because it can get you to a lot of countries without having to have a visa. You can move around a lot of places and live or stay in a lot of places 3 months, 6 months, a year, right, without any paperwork, just your passport. And then if you have a European visa, you can go through all those European countries, and all you got to, I mean, a European passport. All you have to do is just show your passport and keep it trucking, right? And I don't even think you might not even have to show your passport. You might just have to show ID. I'm not for sure about that. But yeah, you don't, yeah. So if anybody needs to be on the lookout, they need to be on the lookout for me because, you know, I wouldn't mind. It would be nice to fall in love with someone and be able to get a a passport or visa to stay in Europe and not have to worry about them 90 days. I have to be out of the Schengen zone. Okay. So, um, let's see. Um, how do cultural expectations play into the dynamics of dating abroad? Um, I think that, so I'm gonna set my phone down and I'm gonna say this. My experience has been that in America, we come from a lot of broken homes, right? And we're not really close to our families compared to the rest of the world. Okay. We come from broken homes. We come from like, single mother homes, single father homes, single parent homes, things like that. For the most part, in most countries, you don't really see a lot of that. I mean, you'll see it a little bit, but for us, when our kids graduate high school, you're like, they're gone to college, they're gone, right? In other countries, I mean, people stay with their parents until they get married. Some countries, the men have to actually, go to the military for 2 years or 3 years or whatever, and then they come back home and live with their parents. So a lot of them don't get married until oh, and then after they come back from the military, they go to the university. By the time they finish the university, they're knocking on 30, right? So a lot of them are still staying with their parents until they're 30 and then until they get married, right? But in the US, we our kids are just sent on their way, like after high school, to go to college, to go away to college. And then again, like in other countries, most kids, they stay with their parents and they just kind of commute to college or whatever, or the university. And so that's another big thing. And then also, in the US, a lot of times we don't even really sit down to eat like dinner and stuff together because the schedules are so different, right? You might have one parent that gets home at a certain time to get the kids. They sit down and they have dinner together. They wait till their husbands or their wives get home. Everybody, you might eat a snack, but everybody sits together. A lot of times people live together with their whole family. It's the grandparents, it's the husband, the wife, the kids. And then, like I say, for the most part, um, people live with their parents until they're married. And some of them don't get married and they're still living with their parents in their 30s. For most Americans, they would say that's a nightmare, right? Because we like our privacy and we want to be able to like dance around in our pajamas and we want to be able to have our own time to ourselves. But that's just our culture and that's how different our culture is compared to, Latin America, Asia, and Europe. They're very close to their families. Another thing is for us, a lot of times after we eat, we're ready to go to sleep or we're laying around on the couch watching TV. We become couch potatoes, or like most people, they're sitting somewhere on their cell phone on social media, watching YouTube videos or whatever. But especially here, I noticed that also when I was in Argentina, but Latin American countries too, Argentina, and when I was in Brazil and also in Europe, when people eat, they eat a little bit later. Usually they don't eat dinner till after 7. Have a TV in every room. Every child has a TV. There's a TV in the living room. There's some people have TVs in their kitchen. I mean, usually in other cases, there's just one TV in the house, and that's just in the family room, and people sit there and watch TV like together, things like that. But yeah, after dinner, they're out walking. They go and have coffee. Well, now one thing is a lot of people smoke here. I'm still not used to that, but they're smoking their cigarettes and drinking their coffee and stuff like that. But they actually get out and move around with their families and stuff like that. So I can honestly say that the family dynamics is completely different in other countries compared to us. Um, which I wish I mean, I wish there was something to change that, but people are generally closer to their families. And that's why a lot of people are not so quick to want to come to the US and get a visa or green card. Okay. If anything, and I've noticed this too, like some people that I have met that actually have married foreigners, especially in Europe, they just moved to Europe. Those people want, like, the women, the American women, or where are the women from? They want them to be in their country with their family. They want them to be a part of their family. So those are the kind of men that women should look for. I mean, if you're looking for a long-term relationship, you know, that are actually are interested in you and you meeting their family and things like that. All right. Okay, what should I do if I feel uncertain about his intentions? Okay, look, I'm an American, okay? And Americans, for the most part, especially Black women, we don't leave nothing up to the imagination, okay? Um, I'm not gonna sit around. I'm not gonna just wonder. Like if someone keeps hinting at something, I'm just gonna ask. If he keeps saying, "Oh, I would love to go to the US. I would love to. I wish I could get a green card." He tried to say something on the slide. It would be nice to have a green card to live in the US. Maybe if I could marry and move to the US, I would go ahead and ask him, "What are you looking for? Are you looking to marry someone to move to the US?" To maybe get a green card? What are your intentions with me? I'm just going to ask because if you say the wrong thing, you are probably going to be deleted or blocked. Conversation is over, everything is shut down, and I'm out, right? So, if you start to feel uncomfortable or you feel like those are their intentions, just ask, just be blunt enough to ask. Now, I will say I've gotten this a few times. I don't think a lot of men are used to women being so direct. Okay. That's the beauty of American women. Okay. Especially, like I say, our sisters. Okay. We don't hold nothing in. I'm not going to worry and stress myself out thinking or wondering what someone feels about me, what they think about me. I want to know. I'm going to ask. Right. And I have been told that one guy told me, he was like, he asked me something, and I guess I didn't respond in the way that he wanted to. And he was like, "Well, why do you sound like you have an attitude?" Honey, it's not an attitude. I'm just giving you an answer, but maybe it's an answer that you don't like. Okay. Maybe it's an answer that you didn't expect. I'm not going to just like sit and have my lips shut or sealed and not say anything. Like if you ask me something, I'm going to be direct. That's just how it is. You just nip it in the bud. And a lot of men are not used to that. Women may be a little more, I don't want to say timid, but they're a little more reserved, right? They're a little more reserved or a lot more reserved in some countries than others. But if you ask me something, I'm going to tell you. If it's not the answer that you want, you ask me my opinion. So I'm going to give you what you asked for. So, yeah, that's another part of dating an American. If you want something different, you're going to get it. Might not necessarily be what you thought it was going to be, but yeah. So, yeah, just make sure that you just ask. Yeah, he starts asking, "Oh, they're quick to say I love you." Okay. And I think love is different because in the US, people don't say that L word too quick, right? But I think I'm noticing that in other countries, one guy told me it doesn't, don't get scared if I say I love you because I do love you. And we had only been talking or communicating for like, I don't know, a month. And I was like, we got off the phone and he was like, "I love you." Or what? And I'm like, "What did you say?" I said, "Why would you say that?" I think he thought I was crazy. I was like, "Why would you say that?" And he was like, "I do love you." And he's like, "I think about you. I want to talk to you every day. So I have love for you." And I'm like, "Well, men in the US, they're not quick to say that. And a lot of times they're not going to tell you that first anyway, because that's just, you know, that's the mentality. But they will tell you quickly over here that they love you." And I'm thinking, do you love me or do you love it? Or do you love what I might can do? I mean, we gotta go over the river and through the woods, right? for a while for me to say those words. Because I mean, you can care. For me, that's caring about someone. But yeah, when he was saying that, he was like, "Well, no, well, I really do love you." And even after I questioned that, he would still say it, right? And he was a European guy. He was from Turkey. He was Turkish, and he would say, "Trish, I love you." And I was like, I would say, "Oh, okay, all right. Well, it was nice talking to you, and you know, hopefully we can talk tomorrow. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Have a good night." I don't know what to say because I'm not going to say I love you if I don't mean it, right? But he didn't say anything. He didn't like say, "Oh, well, oh, why didn't you say you love me?" He didn't say anything like that. So, yeah, they throw that love word around. And I think, like I say, it's a more intimate thing. Um, for us than it is for other people, but I'm getting used to it. So, okay, if you love me, you love me. If you love me, I like it. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna tell you that I love you if I don't, but I'll tell you that I like you a lot. You're cute. I love our conversation. I love the things you say. I love the things you do, but I'm not gonna tell you that I love you. Okay. So it's gonna take a minute for that. Um, let's see. Okay, how can I ensure a relationship is based on mutual interest rather than location? Okay, for this, just focus on each other, focus on spending time with each other, focus on getting to know each other, focus on your cultural differences, right? Talk about your differences. I think that dating, especially dating outside of your race or dating someone from another country, it just adds a little spice to that relationship because you're completely different. You're from completely different cultures, right? The way that he was raised or the way that she was raised, it's going to be different. So those are things that you can bond over. So I think when you share those things together, let him take you out, take you out on a date. Okay. Let him take you out for coffee. Let him, I love walking on the beach. Everybody knows I love water. Let him take you for a walk on the beach, right? Let him do things for you, not you always doing things for him, if you know what I mean. Okay. If they're just only wanting to talk to you, "Oh, I have to work. Oh, I have to do this. I can come around 10, 11, 12." You already know what that is. Mail call, right? Hit or quitter, right? You already know what that is. And if that's what you want, sometimes you want that. That's fine. But if it's only that, then you know that that is not going to be a relationship. Okay. So yeah, just, if it's someone that you feel like, that you like, vet them, ask questions. Like, what are your intentions with me? What are you looking for in a relationship? Are you looking for a relationship? If things were to get serious, what do you expect from me? Okay. Do you want to move to the US? Are you trying to get a green card? you know, Ask those things. But yeah, just get to know that person. And I feel like if a man is really interested in you, he's not going to only just want to see you at night. Okay. He's going to want to, you know, I've had one that he wants to be out and wants to hold hands and things like that. But he's gonna want to see you during the day. He's not gonna want to just like hide you away, tuck you away for his own purposes, if you know what I mean. But, later he might even invite you to meet his family, things like that. So those are the things to look for. If he's genuinely interested in you, he's gonna put you in his car and he's probably gonna take you and show you his country because he's gonna be proud. He's gonna show you those spots that most people don't, talk about on YouTube or most tourists don't go to. So those are the things that a man that's really interested in you that he's gonna do. Um, Mm, let's see. I'm a little thirsty. I'm parched. Um, we're gonna we're almost done, but I just wanted to get in a little deep, some of these questions. Okay. Let's see. What are some Okay, so what are some of the benefits of dating abroad as an American woman? So we all know that, dating abroad is going to expose you to new cultures, okay? Cultures, languages, things like that. And I mean, I love it. Anyone that knows me know that, hey, I date foreign people. I'm gonna leave it at that. Anybody that know me know that I date foreign people, and I love it for the reason that we're completely different, you know. And for me, it's exciting, and I love an accent. I go crazy for an accent. I'm not even gonna lie. You start talking to me, it's almost like you talking to me in tongues because I love an accent. There's nothing sexier than an accent, right? Or the way a person says your name in a different language. And believe it or not, most people in other countries they love the American English accent, especially black. They love the American black English accent. They love the way we talk and things like that. But for me, I guess because I'm American and I hear my accent all the time, my country accent all the time, but I hear, American accent. I love any accent. I mean, there's a few that I really don't, that I'm really not attracted to, but we're not going to talk about that. But like a British accent, Argentine accent, Italian accent, Brazilian, Spanish, um, you know, I love an Irish accent too. So for the most part, that's the thing for me, an accent. So yeah. But yeah, so that's just, you just get to know things and just have those new experiences. Now, they're not always going to be good. Sometimes cultural differences can be a shock. And I can say this, it can just be a shock. There are some things that we are used to that other people are not used to. Okay. I'm going to leave it at that because I've had an experience and it's just, so they're not always going to be great. Some things you might not be able to deal with. We are set in our ways sometimes. And for me, first, if I'm trying to be graceful, have grace. My sister tells me I need to have grace, and I'm trying. I think I'm doing better because I'm quick to cut someone off. I'm quick to cut someone off. Like you're done, done, and done. But I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be graceful, as my sister says, just to be a little better with dealing with people. I mean, it's not that I'm mean. I say things in a nice way, but my tolerance level is just like not good at all. It's just things, I don't know. I'm being selfish to myself because I've given and given and given so much to other people and other relationships and, to your kids. I'm just give out, right? So for the most part, I'm a little selfish. Like if it's something I don't like about a person, and then I will cut them off real quick because I'm like, you know what? I don't have time. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to make any exceptions to the rule because I've been making exceptions all my life. And guess what? Doing all of that, I was not happy. But I'm trying to be graceful. I'm trying to show grace. So yeah. So usually a lot of people I wouldn't date, I'm giving them half a chance. We can hang out. All right. Mm, okay, so this is a good question. So why is it important to meet his family when dating someone abroad? Okay. So if someone is eager to introduce you to their family and they're eager to show you off, and you know they're texting and calling, and for me it's the FaceTime. Okay, so I don't know if you know this, but if especially if you're in the US and you're watching this, um Traveling, I use WhatsApp. A lot of travelers, we use WhatsApp because it's global, right? WhatsApp, all you need is your Wi-Fi. You can text, you can send videos, you can call, you can do all of that. I mean, there's other things that people use like Line and Telegram or whatever that is. I don't really care about that. My WhatsApp. Okay. And also with WhatsApp, you get tired of someone or they start being aggressive or bombarding you, or you just don't like them no more, so you can just block them, right? So they use WhatsApp. But if that person is communicating with you and he says, Trish, I really like you, we've been hanging out and things like that, I would really like for you to meet my family. I've talked to my mom and my dad and they want to invite you over for dinner. Like if he's talking like that, you might have your foot in the door, and it ain't gonna be for a green card. He don't want a green card from you. He might be trying to give you one. So that's a good thing, if people are actually trying to invite you and include you in their family. Because, like I say, in other countries and even in the U.S. as well, if someone is inviting you to their family to be around their parents, then that says a lot about how that person feels about you and what they think about you. Okay. So yeah, if he's doing that, yeah, you got your foot in the door, you might be able to get through the cracks a little bit, and you know, you might be able to have that second golden passport. So, it's not gonna be him asking you because like I say, majority of the time especially over here in Europe, they don't want you. They don't want to go to the US. They're gonna want you to stay here. They're gonna want you to stay here because they want to be with their family. All right. So yeah, so that just kind of shows that he might see a future with you, that he's serious about dating you and, wanting to, you know, be around you more, right? Um, how can you navigate cultural misunderstandings in a cross-cultural relationship? You know, just communicate. If there's something that you don't like about a person's culture, try not to be direct about that. Even though I'm a direct person, just try to understand that you're not in the US or you're not, in your country. And this is their culture. You can't change their culture. Don't think you can go to a country and change how a person thinks and how they feel about certain things. Because I will say, as an American, some of our thoughts are ass backwards. The way we think about stuff is just ridiculous. you know, and we think we're always right. We think our culture is the best culture, but after traveling for the last 4 years and living in all these other countries, the way that I see things in the US, there's a lot of things that we need to change. Our way of thinking is not the best. Our way of living is not the best. Our work um ethic is not the best. And I'm not saying like not having a job, I'm saying just working to death and then retiring at 70 and then just sitting on our porch or our back stoop and just watching the cars go by. No. These people over here, a lot of times, not even just here, people abroad, um, a lot of times they don't have a lot of money. They don't make a lot of money. Some countries, like people like in Thailand, people only make like $300 or $400 a month. Albania, places like that, they don't make a lot of money. Some places they make less than $1,000 a month. But guess what? They're the happiest people in the world. But for Americans, we work and we work and we work and we try to get to this place and this place and this. We want to climb up the ladder. We want to be the boss of the boss of the boss of the boss. But by the time you do that, you're all broke down, right? Life has gone by and you're just waiting on retirement and you're just, that's our life, right? And so this is another thing that I admire about people in other countries. They may not have a lot to give you, but they will, but they have time, right? They have time. They don't have a lot of money, but they have time and they spend their time with their family and their friends. I mean, they might sit around and drink coffee and smoke cigarettes all day, But guess what? They're doing whatever they like to do. They're not beat down. They're not working and sleeping and working and sleeping. You know, that, you know, that's just our, for most of us, that's what we do. Eat, sleep, and shit, right? So that's the one thing that I like about, you know, other cultures as well. They see things in a different light, but in a positive way. And I've learned to be um, more relaxed and calm and things like that. I'm starting to learn how to have grace. Um, let's see. Um, I don't know. I think, um, oh, let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's so, okay? We know the sun rises and sets, but just because someone says something, it is not always so, okay? So just be mindful. You know, like there's a saying, I can show you better than I can tell you. That's me. You can tell me something all day. You can tell me you love me. You can tell me you like me a lot. You can tell me I'm the best thing since sliced bread. But if you're not showing me that, I don't believe it. So when ladies, just be mindful that when someone, when you are dating, whether you're dating in the US or you're dating abroad, that if someone is telling you something, just make sure that they're following through, right? Look for the things that they're not saying to you. That's how you know how a person feels about you, right? Um, just and protect yourself. Just protect your feelings, protect your heart, because a lot of times people will take advantage of you if you allow them to, right? Put yourself first, let them know that you stand your ground. Let them know that they can't run over you. And this is anybody, any man or woman or anything like that. Let them know they can't just treat you any kind of way or talk to you any kind of way or things like that, and let them know your intentions. Ask them what their intentions are. What are your intentions with me? Are you trying to take me home to your mama, or are you trying to just smash and grab? Are you looking for a green card? Are you looking for a visa? What are your intentions with me? Quote unquote, right? And if he says that he's looking for that, then for me, it's a deal breaker. And I'm out, because I'm not carrying no one back to the US. And even if I did meet someone and I was to get married, and for some reason I wouldn't want him to go back to the US. I don't want him to get tainted, to be honest. I want him to stay right where he is, keep him in his element, right? With his people, with his culture, with the diversity that he's known to, not back to the US, because I will tell you, our way of thinking sometimes can poison the mind, right? So I would definitely keep him in his, in his place where he needs to be in his country, right? But yeah, guys, I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else, but to say, yeah, women, just keep dating, just keep having fun, keep enjoying life, right? you know, um, keep having wonderful experiences. There's a whole big world out there. There is nothing wrong with taking it by the horns and trying to figure out what you want for yourself, what you want for your life. Like I say, it doesn't have to be traveling. I mean, there are a lot of foreign men in the US, right? It's the same thing because they're coming from a different culture. So it is exciting, but you still have to watch that too, because if they're just there for a work visa or a student visa or something, they still could be wanting you to give them a green card, right? So whether you're abroad or you're in the States, just be mindful of the people that you're choosing for yourself, and just be mindful of, their intentions. All right, my BT crew, thank you for joining in. And tomorrow is Sunday sermon. So I got something special, that's our serious talk, So we're just gonna talk about, just like I say, we always just gonna be talking about life in general and how to deal with daily life, right? All right. Stay blessed, stay encouraged. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share. Okay. And if there's anything you want to know or you want to discuss, or you think that I should do a video about it, just let me know. Or you have any questions, feel free to comment. And I think my email is there as well. You can send me an email or you can reach out. And if there are any women who are currently dating abroad or living abroad, or even if you're in the US and you have dated men from other countries, um, let's do a video one day. If you want to get together and you want to share your input, we can make that happen. We can talk and discuss, because I just don't want this platform to be about me traveling and my experience. I want to hear from other women. It doesn't matter your color or your race. It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight or whatever. I want women to be able to come to my platform, and I want to make this a little different than most traveling channels, because I want to be able to not like interview you. I want to be able to sit and chit chat like we're having a glass of wine or something and we're just passing around, passing the time. I want to be able to talk about these things, right? So, yeah, just, drop me a comment or send me an email. And until next time, guys, have a wonderful day. And thank you for tuning in to Bellaocity Travel Channel. See you next time.